Hey, Northern Ohio golfers, let's talk golf. Here is Luke Taylor, one of the most colorfully dressed golfers who spends his day living on the edges of bunkers in northeastern Ohio. It's the Clubhouse Confidential, a Northern Ohio golf experience.
Hello and welcome to another Clubhouse Confidential, a Northern golf experience. Luke Taylor here, and I am here with two fine gentlemen. I always go in the middle when you have two Kent State people. I guess this is now called the Kent State University Men's Golf Podcast or Show. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review to the Clubhouse Confidential, and follow us on YouTube, Instagram, all that other great stuff. But so this is kind of an interesting. I don't know if you guys have ever been interviewed together. I know you interviewed him, but I don't know if you guys have interviewed together. And you guys kind of have a unique partnership. You were in friendship. You were teammates at Kent State for how many years?
4 years.
4 years. Yeah.
97 to 2001.
That's correct.
97 to 2001.
What do you think about him? Well, let me introduce you. I got John Mills, the coach John Mills, the head coach at Kent State and former PGA Tour professional. And I got Randall Dietz, one of the top, or Randy Dietz, one of the top teaching pros in Northern Ohio. And we have a unique past and stuff like that. Does a really good job. Can find him at Windmill Lakes.
Windmill Golf Center.
I know. I'm just making sure you're paying attention. Windmill Golf Center, and after this part of the episode, we're going to talk to Trent Maxwell, who you know well. And we had a really good interview. So, you guys have a unique. So, what did you think of him at Kent State?
Oh boy.
Yeah, that goes back a while, but I think when you come in, you're trying to get a feel for all the freshmen. We had 4 freshmen,
three of us.
Danny, you, and I,
Yep.
And Danny Saul.
Yeah. And
fellow Canadian.
My first ever experience with him was we were at Windmill on the first tee, and I see him walking over, and it was just walking to the tee to join us, and that was my first ever really experience. And ever since then, we became great friends, and it was great that he was able to we could work together on the tour.
Yep. What did you think of him the first time you met him? It's kind of like a matchmaker show, doesn't it feel like that?
I was aware he was highly recruited, had a lot of success as a junior, and
I read about him. You know that in Canada, he was always in the newspaper.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he was.
He was a big deal.
Yeah. Were you ever in the Toronto Sun?
Good question.
Yeah.
Probably.
Right near the Sunshine Girl?
Probably. Yeah.
But I would say immediately that freshman fall, I think everybody on the team realized we knew what we had.
Yeah.
John was a long hitter.
Yeah.
And right away off the bat, he kind of made his mark.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny about it now is that the guys on the team now that I play with, we're going to play today. I don't know if they really believe that I hit the ball far, because nowadays I don't hit it anywhere.
But you don't have. I mean, the technology back then was a little bit different than now.
Yeah,
the ball and everything.
The flexibility is not quite where it used to be.
Yeah. So how far are you hitting it now?
Oh, now?
Yeah. What did you hit it, and what do you hit it now?
You know what? I think my first few years on the Corn Ferry, I was always averaging around that 300 to 315 range.
Okay.
Now, on a good one, maybe I get it to 290.
That's not bad.
I'll take it.
With roll?
Yeah, with some roll.
Okay.
Firm greens.
To show you the trend, when he came on tour, he was a long hitter, and everybody knew he was long. By the time when did you finish? 14, 15?
Yeah, I was, no.
He was probably average, maybe just above average.
I would say so, yeah.
That's how the game had changed just in that about 10-year span.
Yeah, people don't understand. I mean, you see these guys on the tour. I mean, they hit the shit out of the ball, but the guys that are winning are chipping and putting. I mean, right? I mean, that's I mean, that's the truth, right? I mean, when you won tournaments, especially your one trophy that you broke,
still broke.
I know. We've seen a photo of it, but people don't understand. It's like, and on your side too, it's like people don't understand like how good these guys are, and they all hit it far for the most part. I mean, for a lot, all of them hit it far. So how did that kind of transition go? So you guys played college golf together with. Let me ask you this: give me one word to describe Herb Page.
Oh, that little U-turn there.
Yeah.
Passionate.
Passionate.
Yeah.
What about you? I passionate sounds like crazy to me, but whatever.
No.
In Canada, that means crazy.
Boy, I don't know how you pinpoint one word on Herb. I mean, passion's a good one, but just
I mean, demanding would be a good one, but in a good way. Like not, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
demanded the best out of everybody.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
The thing about
Competitive is definitely in his nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing about Herb, like from the moment I met him and all through college golf and now coaching with him, like the passion he has in the program and the love of all the players and
Even the girls program too.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's pretty much started that one. Yep.
You know, you admire that. Like you see what all the blood, sweat, and tears he's put into this program, and you know, and it's incredible what he's done, and you know, you just kind of want to, as a, you know, taking over for him and coaching now, it's like you want to take some of that and bring that to the program.
Yeah. Yeah. So you obviously had both had pretty good college careers. Johnny obviously did a little bit better. You're on the wall a little bit more. You had a teammate named Ben Curtis, who we all obviously know. How did that conversation go to where you're like, yeah, I'll caddy for you? Like, did you ever think about, like, when you were in college, did you ever think you'd be caddying for one of your teammates?
Probably didn't cross my mind a whole lot. I mean,
Yeah, there you go. Thanks.
I guess really how it happened is we were 2 years out of college. I was playing, I'll call it the NGA Tour, the Hooters Tour.
It was yeah.
And
Great wings.
had a car breakdown, and I was kind of in a spot, and John said, my last event was actually in South Carolina. He was in Greenville at the BMW.
Which is South Carolina, yep.
2-hour drive. He said, hey, I'm kind of looking. So I went up, caddied, and, I mean, we did 7 straight years together. So
That's crazy.
And again, this, you know, I remember some of it, but like you said, your car broke down.
Well,
I was like, how'd you drive the 2 hours?
well, my car broke down in Jacksonville. And then I had to go home, and basically the allocation I had for the tour, I had to give that up, buy a car, and Johnny said, come on out, and I did.
Yeah. So what kind of, so you had obviously you had someone, did you have someone full-time with you before him, or are you kind of just doing the, you know, maybe the girlfriend route like Ben did or stuff like that?
Yeah, I had a couple
Now
caddies.
wife.
My first year, I had a couple off and on. Like I had, you know, I guess both caddies that I had before Randy, I had for maybe half a year or something like that.
Okay.
You know, maybe even less than that. And they were good. They just, you know, it wasn't working out. It wasn't what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So
Do you just know when you know kind of thing? You're just kind of like when Ben fired Ricky and then he won the tournament?
Yeah. You know what? When it comes to, for me, I was more, you know, I was looking for someone who I can relate to and just talk to, and, you know, and that someone that really, you know, obviously cared for me to how I played, but like wasn't kind of in it for himself.
Right.
And someone that would just distract me in between shots.
Yeah.
Really, that's what it comes down to, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think people understand how crucial a caddy is to a player. And a lot of times it's not about, kind of like in basketball, the X's and O's. It's all the intangibles. Like, hey, like you're having a rough day. You could say, hey, do you remember when we did this at Ray's? Or you remember when Herbie did this? Or you remember when Ben did this? Or you remember this? And it just takes you away. Because, I mean, let's be honest. How much are you really talking? I mean, obviously when you're about to hit a shot, and I think you told me this with Lily, it's like, you know, people think you got to focus for 4 hours. And it's really for what, like 20 minutes or something ridiculous? But obviously you knew him probably as well as him. I mean, to do that, and were you just like, all right, you know, I'm done playing, I'm going to caddy now?
Yeah, I mean, I was committed. I mean, that's I to this day I thank him. It was the best education I ever received to do what I'm doing now, and also my playing career. I mean, watching him and watching the tour helped my playing career. But to your point, I think September and October were probably our favorite times because there's a lot of fantasy football talk. that was our distraction.
Absolutely.
The waiver wire and who's available.
Like I'm telling you, no matter what event
would you talk about, like, during the round, you talk about fantasy football?
Absolutely.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
oh, my God.
And it could be...
Are you a Bills fan?
No, Steeler.
Bastard.
Sorry.
Okay.
But like, I remember at Boise, you know...
the Albertson Open.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the year I won, but it was like, on a Sunday, you're more worried about scores in the NFL than you are actually about the golf. And you'd hit your shot, and I'd kind of work my way over to the rope and talk to my wife and be like, "Hey, who scored? You know, like what teams?"
Would she ever say to you, like, John, you need to focus?
No, because I played better when I was.
It was
like
a great distraction. He played very well at the end of the season.
You have to distract yourself in between shots, and you know, I always gravitated toward, like, I love nature, so I'd be like looking in the ponds and looking all, whatever. But football season, it was awesome, and then obviously hockey season too.
Our team called him Nature Boy.
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. Herb would always get mad because he'd drive up, and I'd be walking along the pond, and he'd be like, "Oh, Mills hit at the pond," and then I'd take a V-turn, a U-turn out into the fairway to where my ball was.
Now this explains why Herbie is how he is, because of this guy, right?
Yeah, he was a little stressed out because John's checking out the water.
Yeah. What was it like on tour, like going together? I mean, was it? This is what I want to know. So when you guys aren't playing, would you make them do things for you? Like, hey, can you go get me this, or can you know? It's pretty much that. Is that usually common on the tour? Because I just imagine some of these tour players, it's like, all right, you're mine for 24/7.
No.
I mean, honestly, I would consider us best of friends, and we were friends off the golf course.
Yeah.
I mean, I was
Grab dinner, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. What do you remember most of the tour?
I don't know. It's a lot of different things, but for me, it was the obviously the travel, but the competition. It was, going back to even before tour, my first couple years on the Corn Ferry Tour, it's eye-opening how good the players are.
Yeah.
And I remember my first tournament going out there and feeling I played well, and someone shot 10 under and I shot even par. I'm like, whoa, what do I got to do here?
Well, didn't you shoot 60 at one?
I did, but that later on, and then
but someone shot even lower.
Yeah, going on the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Just being out there and the experience of playing against the best players in the world, and you're playing against guys that you looked up to and you watched on TV, and so that's something that I guess I remember, and that always kind of stood out for me.
Yeah. What about you, Randy?
Yeah, I mean, I would say it kind of fulfilled a dream as a kid. I mean, obviously I didn't get to hit the shots and play, but
kind of did. But yeah,
but I'm
100%.
seeing the golf courses that I grew up watching. I think the people, like a lot of good people that we came across, and
Different club reps,
different
other caddies.
I just talked to
players.
Dwayne Bach, he's now with Sep Straka. Kevin Kisner's caddy. Just talked to him a couple days ago. So, yeah, there's still people.
That's funny.
Still keep in touch a little bit.
The funniest story from the previous show I had with Mr. Curtis was the difference between playing like the Corn Ferry or Web.com to the PGA Tour. And a lot of it comes down to the food.
The food was definitely
Very,
he would speak on that.
That's very true. The food, the food was incredible. And it's always, the problem is, you're eating.
We're having tacos again on the Corn
Ferry.
Ferry.
These great buffets, and then, you have this great dessert. And then, I remember.
Lafayette, you had to buy Subway.
Yeah, so they made this transition, and there was a bunch of tour guys coming down to play Lafayette, and everyone shows up, and they're realizing they have to pay for the food. So everyone just went out to Subway, brought it back, and it's like, big difference. But
Yeah. Do your players and your players too, your students, understand what you guys did?
Yes and no. I think they understand. Obviously, I played there, and
Well, shit, 3 of your players are on the tour, so what am I?
yeah.
Let's be honest.
But it's that was a long time ago, so it's kind of like which I get, I understand, but it's still it always kind of when like I said, I'm going to play today, but like every time I play with them, even now, I'm like my whole goal, my competitiveness gets in, and I just want to beat them, and so I think sometimes when I go out there and don't practice and still shoot 4 under par and beat everyone on the team, I think they kind of get it sometimes.
You know what you should do is to play for your scholarship and roster spot, they have to beat you.
Yeah.
Over 3 days, because I don't think you can last after 2. So
what's funny, the first couple of years I was coaching, that's how I kind of determined who was good. Like, I remember my very first round of golf with meeting Chase Johnson.
Yeah,
and
great player.
We had this battle, and I think I birdied the last 2 holes to beat him by 1. But like guys like him, guys like Ian Holt, as they progressed into their season, it became where I couldn't beat them every time we played, and which was kind of just great to see. And then they've gone on to have some success, and so it's still kind of a way to measure their skill.
Yeah. What have you taken away from the tour with kind of your everyday life? I mean, is there anything I mean, it's obviously made you a better teaching pro. I mean, just from seeing things and learning things and being around things. Is there anything you kind of see yourself doing on a daily basis that maybe you did for years on the tour?
From a teaching aspect or playing?
Anything, yeah. Playing too. I mean, you're active and.
I think how it helped my game is I take pride in. I have a boring game of golf. It's very boring. I make
meat
a lot
potatoes.
of meat and potatoes. I don't get it out of play much. Make a lot of pars, throw a few birdies, and I think
that is really boring.
Yeah,
but it works.
But I think watching that for all those years, I think it just. I mean, there's a little more excitement, more birdies being made, but it's like you just see simple golf.
Yeah,
and it helped me with my playing.
Yeah,
even though I don't practice, I don't get a chance to practice, but it's just seeing that for so many years, it's ingrained. I think visualizing the shot.
Yeah,
you get to see these guys hitting the shots, and then that you're kind of visualizing that yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we're going to ask you this individually. Johnny, name me the one golf course you never want to play again.
Oh.
Which one haunts you?
On the tour, there's not much that haunt me out there. There's courses that I've come across that I never want to play.
Like where?
Merido, down in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
No one really knows much about it. It's pretty much the hardest golf course I've ever seen. If I had to pick one on the PGA Tour, I would probably, it's a tough love-hate, but like Oakmont.
Oh, yeah.
It's so hard. It's not super long, but it's just like, I think the U.S. Open there, I shot like 7 or 8 over par and missed the cut by 1. So it's there's no let up. And, definitely not a course I want to be playing every day.
Yeah. You're so close to it, though.
Yeah, I know.
Any golf courses that you remember that you're just like, man, if we never go back there, I'm good?
Wow. Honestly, nothing really jumps out at me.
I don't think I ever want to play the last hole at Sugarloaf.
Oh, TBC Sugarloaf.
No, sorry, the 9th hole.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to get into
funny
that.
Story, but like, so not funny at the moment. So I was actually playing pretty well, so, within the cut line, and come down to the 9th hole, which is my last hole on Friday, and pull it in the left rough. There's all a creek down the right side. Pull it in the left rough, and kind of got a weird lie, and yank it left of the green, left of this bunker in the rough again. So now I've got this shot over a bunker to a green that slopes away from me to a creek behind the other side, and I'm in this little, like, not a divot, but like in a little low patch. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do here? I actually thought about chipping it in the bunker, end up sculling over the green, and end up making like a
triple
7 and missed the cut by 1. So
I can honestly say that was
a rough one.
Probably the maddest I've ever seen John. Like a little bit of trunk slamming going on, and
you want to hear about trunk slamming? I think I picked my tour bag up over my head and threw it as hard as I could in back of the trunk. So
yeah, there was no fantasy football talk at that moment.
No.
No, that was hard.
Was there ever a tin cup moment, meaning he hit a shot and you're like, don't use that club? Was there ever one where you can remember off the top of your head that he just kept doing something and you're like, I don't agree with you, but I'm not going to say anything?
Nothing
pops
I would
up.
say there had to be times where he probably did maybe disagree with what I was deciding to do. I think overall, though, I was not like one of those kind of players that kind of like stupid aggressive, like aggressive to a point.
Yeah, he was smart.
Yeah,
he played smart. It was not like trying to hit it through a opening of a tree. Like, what are you doing? Like nothing like that.
Did he ever throw a club at you?
No.
We've witnessed one of my playing partners get hit by the caddy getting hit. I don't know if I should be throwing this.
Let's go. Come on.
We don't need names, but where was that at?
It was at Mark Christopher out in California. We were playing with a good friend of mine, and he threw his club and kind of hit his caddy a little bit, and the caddy got yelled back at him, and they got a bit of. You know exactly who it is.
Can you say their initials at least?
CB.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that doesn't.
There's always some good stories with that guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories is when like Ben threw a club and Candace was caddying for him, and she just made him go get it.
Oh, yeah. That's why you shouldn't have your wife caddy for you.
Well, so did was it Chris DeMarco? His wife caddied for him. They drove all through Canada, and did it. So it's got to be interesting and stuff like that.
We have a buddy, Canadian caddy, that was caddy for a player. I think it was at Tampa, and the player threw the club, and he refused to get it, and I think walked off the golf course.
Yeah, some good stories.
Yeah. What tour stop had the best food? Since I'm overweight and I'm kind of hungry, it's good. Lunch is coming.
All of them were good. It's tough to.
Memorial was always well known.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
we
milkshakes.
played Muirfield the other day or last week before our Dayton event and had the old milkshakes there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so good, but
Yeah.
the food, it's tough. The question is what tour event had the worst food, because that'd be tough to figure out because they all had good food. Canadian Open was phenomenal.
Yeah.
The caddies are a different story.
Well, I know that. And the media. I've been to all
Not
these.
so much now, I guess.
But I would say the Canadian Open did a great job with the caddies. I mean, that was a very good
We're
setup.
friendly people. We're very hospitable in Canada.
Very,
Absolutely.
You know.
very.
What do you think about Glen Abbey? You see, it got flooded. You see what happened?
No, like
Dude, it got
recently.
flooded. Yeah, a couple months ago. No, maybe a year. I don't know. It was a what?
The whole
this year,
valley?
yeah.
So that's not developed yet? It's supposed to be
I
developed,
think
right?
they saved it.
They saved it.
They saved
They
it.
spent all this money.
Wow.
So to me, growing up, that's where I watched the Canadian Open.
Well,
That's
your father was head of the.
Golf Ontario.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but like that's where I grew up watching the
Yeah.
Canadian
Never
Opens.
been to it.
So-
Never even played it.
Well, even when I was up there playing Canadian Opens, it never really felt like a Canadian Open to me because it wasn't at Glen Abbey. So the times where we did play there, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Do you ever wish to be on the senior tour?
I've thought about it. I've thought about just the idea of playing some.
Could you?
events. Yeah, I still think I'm probably a surgery or two away.
I know a couple orthopedic surgeons on speed dial.
Well, I got a shoulder to fix, and who knows? But
We can do it. He's like, let me call my brother-in-law or my father-in-law. He
I'm
doesn't
gonna-
practice anymore, but he's still good.
definitely gonna
Do
need
it right here.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I it's fun because, like I said, I play with our guys all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm still playing a lot of golf.
You kind of want to see what you can do with all these other guys, don't you?
I
Deep down.
there is part of
Yeah.
for sure. I want to play. I definitely see myself trying to play a couple of events. Whether
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily see myself going to Q school and trying to get my
Yeah.
card, but who knows?
When are you 50?
So I'm 46 now.
So you got a couple years. Would you caddy for him?
If I physically can, I've
Hey, don't they
God, you
don't
can-
they take carts out there?
I've got some
John Daly does.
I've got some issues. I haven't even got to talk to him about it. I need a partial knee replacement.
Oh, there you go.
So I don't know what that means.
So we don't have any sponsors yet, and I think I need to reach out to Crystal Clinic because I think that would be a great one since I have very much fledgling loyalty to them because of my father-in-law and brother-in-law. And my wife used to work there too.
Yeah.
So Crystal Clinic, call me, which they're not going to. but it's funny. I don't think people understand the wear and tear of walking and the wear and tear of walking and also playing too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you played through a lot of stuff too, right? You both did.
I look back at my career. I was very fortunate with injuries. Never really a couple here and there, but I never had to like pull out of events or miss events. The shoulder actually came from like beer league hockey, so it's not even golf related.
Yeah.
A true Canadian beer league hockey.
So, in fact, played last night.
Oh my God.
And mine comes from the last time I played basketball was 15 years ago. So they
Oh my
removed.
God. I'm thinking it's like golf
Yeah, it's
related.
not-
They're like the worst ones ever.
So
We got
they,
lucky.
they told me 25 years, and I'm at 15 years, and I just got news last week from Dr. Pagan from the Crystal
Yep,
Clinic.
I know Dr.
that he's like, yeah, you're ready. So we're going to do some things over 6 months. I have to play the national PGA Professional
You don't
Championship.
have to, but you're going to.
Oh, I'm going to.
Yeah.
But we're gonna wait through that process. He's going to do some things and see how I respond, and then make a decision.
Yeah. So what do you have to do to do you have to qualify for the senior tour in 4 years? How does that work?
Yeah, for me, I would just have to go to Q school and go through the process. I don't have any kind of like status or anything like that. I would have to go Q school.
Like, what about a guy like Ben, who's probably never going to play golf again? But what would he have to? Because he's a little bit older too. What would because he won a major championship?
Yeah, and obviously
Would he have
other
any-
events, I would think
There
he
might
would
be
have some kind of.
fast track there.
I
Yeah.
would have to think so.
Yeah.
Did you see what Jason Karen is doing?
No.
Do you know? You remember Jason
Remember
Karen?
Jason Karen? Yeah.
So he's a club pro. He's doing what I'm doing, and he just secured his champions card for next year. I think it was the senior PGA Championship. He had a good finish, and he was able to work that into partial status.
Well,
and just
there's hope for you.
this past week,
There's
he, yeah, I don't know if you heard that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? Let's talk a little Kent State. I mean, I know you're invested. You're obviously invested. I mean, you guys, what Herbie started and what you're continuing is pretty remarkable. How does the team look? I mean, I know the MAC. You guys have dominated the MAC, and I mean, golf has just gotten better in general. I mean, you work with a lot of high-level juniors, and
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll be curious to see when they do the rollback with the golf ball how that will change things, which I think is ridiculous because now my daughter, who might hit a 210, 215 drive, is going to hit 185, and she's going to be pissed at me. It's my fault. My fault. The ball only went 185.
Yeah.
You know how it was. You got kids, so do you.
No, yeah.
So how does Kent State golf look?
I think it looks good. It was an interesting fall. We have 4 seniors. 2 of those have been fairly consistent in the lineup. We have a third that's been in the lineup off and on. And then really the way the makeup of it now is mostly built through the seniors and freshmen. So we have 4 freshmen, and 3 of those freshmen have played pretty much most every week. And so pretty exciting for those guys. Excited. Jordan Gilkison won his first collegiate event last week in Dayton. So it was really special for him, and we won that event, so it was a great way to end the fall. But we were a little up and down at the start of the season. So I think going into the spring, once we kind of really confirm the lineup, I think there's no reason why we can't compete for a MAC championship, and then obviously most importantly get into the postseason and get to that national championship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Randy, what was the one club he would ask for when you guys were playing that you didn't want to give him? What would you say was his worst club in the bag?
I have a worst club in the bag.
No,
there's got to be one. There's always one, dude.
I like how it's taken him a long time.
I know he's thinking about it.
There's not.
I'm telling you, there's just
He was that remarkable. I mean,
hey.
No, there's not a.
What was your least favorite club since he's been Mr. Political over here?
I swear. Well, it depends. It depends on what part of the career you ask me.
I can answer that after him.
Yeah.
So, here we go. See, I can get it out.
I would
Clubhouse
say
Confidential.
I would say majority of my career, I never really. There was parts of my game that maybe shots I didn't hit very well, but whatever, I kind of would avoid those sometimes. But late in my career, it would be my driver, guaranteed.
Confirm.
That was what I struggled with, and that's honestly probably the biggest reason why
you stopped.
I stopped playing.
Yeah.
I lost status.
I've heard that before from other former pros.
Yep, and I couldn't keep it on the mat, and I didn't know what I played my entire career hitting it right to left every single time, so I could aim right, have no issue. Whatever was over there wouldn't matter, and then it became I started missing some right, and then I'd not want to hit it right, miss it left, and it was just a downward spiral. Yeah. And that would definitely be my downfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Confirm.
But why didn't you say that before he said that?
Well, I was nice to bring it up.
No, I was thinking
he's not even Canadian. I love guaranteed. You're part Canadian.
I'm thinking the overall career, and nothing really jumped out. But then I do remember I had a stint with another player, and when I came back, I remember South Point, Pittsburgh. I remember seeing some drives, and I was like, those are shots I haven't seen out of this guy.
Yeah, Seattle, South Point.
Yeah.
It's not a good course to be hitting it a little squirrely on.
Pretty tight through the industrial
And
complex.
that's the thing. I mean, you think about this. I mean, the club you use most is your putter, right? Putter and probably a wedge. Mm-hmm. The club you probably, the driver you don't hit as much, but the driver from such a mentality. I mean, you see the ranges at Windmill. Mm-hmm. It's crazy because you just see people pounding drives over. I mean, you probably have kids when they first come in, they just start. I mean, I see a junior tournaments, they hit like 30 shots with their irons, a couple with their hybrid, and then they hit 65 drivers, and they're shoo, and then they go on the course and it's and they're wondering what's wrong.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's so mental. I mean, it is.
It's funny, like the mentality of kids now. They just want to go hit balls.
Yeah.
And you gotta be like, hey.
Didn't you have an All-American on the driving range on your college team?
D. Saul.
Yeah.
He was an All-American. Yes,
on
he
the
was.
driving
D. Saul. He was probably our
D.
best.
Saul.
Early in our career, he was probably our best ball striker.
Yeah. On the driving range.
Probably one of our best ball strikers.
Yeah.
But
100% agree.
Yeah.
You'd see him on the range, you'd be like, yeah, it's probably maybe their best player.
Yeah. I heard a story once. He shot like 80, 85 one day, and the next day he shot 68 to like win the tournament, or the next week he won the tournament or something like that. And he's Mackenzie Hughes' caddy, correct?
No, he's Corey Connors.
Corey Connors, sorry.
So,
same damn thing.
Again,
Not really, but.
Timeline, a little blurry, but
February at Puerto Rico.
Yeah. High 80s.
88 withdraw second round. He ran out of golf
golf
balls. 99 third round.
And then he did it again the very next week where we played, or he went back, qualified, did it again, and then like the third week we go to Michigan, and he shoots 65 in the opening round, and then I think he ended up losing the tournament by 1.
I think that was Eastern Michigan, right?
No,
it wasn't.
It was Michigan Wolverines.
Okay, Michigan Wolverines.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about it. I actually met him. I introduced myself to him either last summer or 2 summers ago, and he was really nice. I mean, he's from Alberta, Saskatchewan. He's from the West.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I remember saying someone said that to me. He just started laughing. He thought that was pretty funny.
It's a great story. Like, you just go from doing that to, again, 3 weeks later, he's shooting those kind of scores.
It's mental. It was mental.
Yeah.
What do you think? How much of the game you think is mental?
Large part.
More than you think?
Oh, way more.
Especially when you get to the high level collegiate players, amateur, pros. Like, it's the most important. Like, it is.
How much do you guys spend as a program then?
We talk about it. I find as a coach too, we have discussions with players, whether they're individual meetings or with teams, and it tends to gravitate toward the mental side than anything. It's not. They're all good players. They're all great ball strikers.
Absolutely.
It's like, okay, well, go work on your short game, and they beat themselves up more than I've ever seen though.
Yeah.
In general, I think so. It's a lot of that self-confidence and belief, which is super important in this game.
How much are you doing with juniors? I know you teach a ton of juniors and good juniors. How much do you kind of adding in the mental side of it during lessons? I know it's hard because, there's only so much time you have.
Yeah, in that environment, it's kind of hard. I mean, I do need to do that more, but
Self-reflection on the Clubhouse Confidential.
Yeah, but I think talk about situations and a lot of these kids, they have. I mean, you have to learn by failing, to be honest. So as you fail a few times, you learn, and next time you come out on top.
Don't do it again, or I'm not driving you home.
That's right. So I think just gaining that experience, it's all different levels. I mean, some kids may have it out on a national level where they're trying to win on a national level, some on a local level. It's all relative. So.
And it's interesting because, like, this is a PSR announcement. Parents of junior golfers, they have to fail. Absolutely. If they hit 8 out of the sand trap, it's okay. They 5-putt. You know who I'm talking to.
The failing thing is so important, because, throughout my career, anytime I failed, I look at that. It wasn't failing. It was like you put yourself in a position to succeed, and you learn from it. You take from it. The people that always dwell on the fact that, every time I get in that position, I screw up or whatever, those are the ones that never really get out of that. So you have to learn from those situations. And
you have to forget it, too. I remember we interviewed Jason Day, previous show, and I said, you have 13 second-place finishes. What's the one that got away? He's like, I have that many second place. He never knew that he had that many second place. He's like, it's a fish. Like, you just kind of forget, which that's been proven that fishes do have a longer attention span than we give them credit for. I think it's 7 seconds. So let me ask you last question, okay? What is the highest, since we're talking about mental, what is the most amount of putts you've had on a hole playing and the highest score you've ever had on a hole?
I was in Kentucky.
See, every competitive golfer, they don't even think about it.
Well, I honestly didn't even hear the second part of your question because I remembered Kentucky AJGA event. I had a 6-putt, and that's the highest amount of putts that I've had on a hole. Was a 6-putt.
Was it a good 6-putt at least?
No,
it didn't 2 inches, 2 feet, 2 feet.
No, it was
all over the place.
It was back and forth.
Did you know that before you had him as your caddy? Because that's pretty bad at 6. Yeah. What was the highest score you ever had in a hole?
In a Kent State event, Firestone North. Oh, yeah. I made a 12.
What hole?
Number 18 was my 9th hole. I shot 50 and turned and shot 36 on the other 9.
Oh, my God.
So 50-36, that was probably our host event that we had at Firestone.
Yeah. What about you, Johnny?
So unlike him, I can't remember what my highest putt would be. Honestly, I no idea. I'm sure I'd like to say I didn't 4-putt. I might have at some point.
I do remember a 4-putt.
There you go. There you go. I don't.
It was in what's now the FedEx playoffs. We were at the Barclays in New Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
And he had about 5 holes to go.
And I 4-putted?
Had a 4-putt, and he had a putt on
I put on the last hole?
Last hole, about a 18-footer, 15-footer up the hill. If he makes it, we go on to Boston.
Didn't make it.
I do not recall the 4-putt. So that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, as a highest score, though, I do remember, and it's actually a funny story. This is my first year playing professional golf, and we were at down in Austin, Texas, and I'm like 4 under through the first 9 holes of this event, get to the 9th hole and make it 10. Ooh. And long story, not going to play hole by hole. I ended up shooting like 73, and then I was rimming with David Hearn, who's on the PGA, Canadian on the PGA Tour, and he was making fun of me all night about making a 10 on that hole, blah, blah, blah. And the next day he makes a 10 on the same hole. So I felt a little better, right?
Yeah, karma's a,
exactly,
what.
Exactly. So I don't like to laugh about any kind of high scores or anything like that.
Well, I think that's all the thing. My daughter had a blow up on a hole in a tournament once, and she was pretty destitute and down about it. She did play the tournament the next day, which is good, and she finished. So I was asking a couple buddies that played D1 or higher level golf, and they're laughing. He's like, "Oh, I was leading this tournament in Hawaii, and I shot a 15." It's and he just laughed. They laugh about it.
You got it.
You hear Ernie Els 5 putts,
yeah.
You had how many putts? 6.
I had a 6 putt.
Okay, there's no print.
And
I actually
it's
witnessed
scarring. Mentally scarring.
There was an event earlier this fall where we played, and it was a format where all the entire team plays together. So all 5 of us. And one of the worst things you could possibly witness when you're with all the coaches, all the players, you watch one of your players make a 10, which happened. Yeah. And it was quite an interesting, but he took it well. So
that's hard.
Yeah. So let me ask you the last question I have, and then I'll let you guys be. Randy, from a teaching and playing standpoint, what is a good tip or one thing a player should work on in the off season?
Ooh, I honestly just probably balance and just.
You love balance.
Yeah, I mean,
you haven't seen my daughter's balance.
Tempo and balance in the off season.
Yeah.
I mean, wedges are a way to do that. Work on the wedges. You're going to get a rhythm and a balance when you're
I just hear Bob Vokey speaking to me. Bob Vokey just texts me. He's like, "Oh, man, the Habs, man, the Habs." Oh. Dude, I'm a Leafs fan. Stop, Bob.
Yeah.
What about you?
He literally said the exact perfect thing. And I look at based off of every time I come out of the winter when I was playing, my rhythm and tempo was always off. So it was always something I wanted to work on. Apart from that, I tell our guys now, we're coming into the off season, you're going to have all the winter. You're going to have the early spring to be ready by, February 1 to be ready at the highest part of your game to go compete. So I want them to just work on short game as much as they possibly can. So putting, chipping, create games, contests, whatever you can do, short game, the crap out of it, as much as you can. So
if you have an hour to spend, how much short game are you guys doing?
This time of year, I'm doing probably 90% of that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
The weather's still good, so I'm letting them still swing. But when the weather gets bad, it's going to be a lot of short game downstairs in our basement.
Yeah, that's amazing.
As much as you possibly can, be on the grass and shots. So.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, thank you. We're going to really appreciate it. Check out Randy at Windmill Golf Center and check out Johnny at Kent State. And, two fine individuals, and I think I sparked some memories. He says he doesn't remember anything, but he was remembering shit like no tomorrow. I love that that kind of coyness, I don't remember all this stuff like that. But that was great. Thanks for kind of reliving some memories and giving some good spots and advice and stuff like that. And check out Trent Maxwell, who Randy knows well, and Johnny does too. At talk a little bit about Windmill Golf Center, and also. We talked about golf balls and fitting and all that stuff. So Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
You are listening to the Clubhouse Confidential, a Northern Ohio golf experience.
All right, so that was a really cool episode with Randy and Johnny talking about the history of their friendship. I guess they're playing together, then obviously working together. But we got Trent Maxwell from Windmill Golf Center. I said it right, I hope. Hopefully,
yes, you did.
In Macedonia. It's still in Macedonia.
Still in Macedonia.
One of my favorite places to. My daughter and I love going up there and what have you. It's a great facility, and what I love about it, it has stuff in stock.
Yeah.
Because I'm sick of ordering online. Let's be honest. Right. I mean, you want me to say that, and this is not a plug or anything like that, but it's nice because you can actually get stuff. Go in there and stuff like that. So, give me a little bit of background with Windmill Golf Center.
Sure. We've actually been around, believe it or not, since 2012.
Okay.
We started from scratch. Literally had to buy buckets, had to buy mats, had to buy everything. Now, the facility itself was there. We took it over from a previous owner. But, yeah, we literally started from scratch. So and I've been there from the beginning. So it's fun to see it go from earning that first dollar to kind of where it is now.
Yeah. And what was it?
It was actually the 27-hole short course. I mean, that's why it was built. The range came afterwards. The facility itself opened in 2005.
Okay.
And then went bankrupt in the fall of 2011.
Okay.
And then we took over in 2012 and
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. And it's a great facility. If people have never been there, it's really great. You've got I told you we played the first ever short course, and that was really cool. We started on the reds, which was weird because the holes were massive and we were still missing crap, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely have to work. I hear Bob Vokey in my head all the time, short game. And then I didn't realize, and I've probably been to Windmill Golf Center probably 50 times.
Sure.
I didn't realize your putting green was back where it was.
Yeah. It's
a great putting green. I just never, because I've never been on the short course, and if you didn't know it was back there,
right. It's
you
kind of
just went up. Right, right.
Yeah, one of the future projects is we would like to make a massive putting green. I mean, the red course might go away.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
we might make a massive putting green.
Yeah,
There.
with
Don't know
lights.
yet.
With lights,
Well, I don't know
lights,
about
alcohol.
that. Yeah. That's a whole nother
Yeah,
world.
another animal. What I love about it is, I mean, you can play there all year round. You can hit balls, and then you have great grass tees, very well maintained. And I love the mats you put in a couple years ago, the kind of the open air mats. And then if you go to the right of that facility, you got chipping, and the sand trap, which
Correct.
is key.
Yeah, a couple
Couple of sand traps, yeah,
yeah. So it's short game haven there.
yeah.
But I mean, that's where it's at. I mean, Jason Day actually played there with the previous ownership. I mean, Jason Day's got an awesome short game, and that's where he honed it, was doing that.
There are rumors that Jason Day actually slept in the basement.
I can neither confirm nor deny those rumors.
I asked Herb that, and Herb kind of just. I can't remember what Herbie Page said, who you're partnered with and stuff like that. And if you don't know who Herbie Page, he's Canadian. That's all I have to say. I'm Canadian, so I can say that, and obviously Kent State, and just the parallels of Windmill Golf Center and then Windmill Lakes, where you started, right?
Right. That's
you were there for years.
I was there for years. Yeah, I started there in 2002.
Yeah.
So I've been with her quite a while.
Yeah. Okay, so I got some questions for you.
Absolutely.
You guys do a really good job with club fitting, and you're a master club fitter. That's what they at least call you. Whether you're like, well, I am, or whatever. So how
I help people.
Well, right. And this is not a plug to go buy new clubs and stuff like that.
Sure.
But these are honest questions that I have. How often should you buy new golf clubs?
I would say with irons, I would probably look at it every 6 to 8 years.
Really? Okay.
Now it depends. I mean, if with COVID, you have these COVID players that are starting from scratch, and they're high handicaps at first, and then they spend all this time and effort getting into it. Maybe their timeline's a little different. I've had some people that started in COVID and have already come back because they started as they wouldn't even have a handicap. They weren't that good, but now they're maybe a 10 or 15 handicap or even a 5 handicap because they've spent that much time. So they've accelerated the process. But I'd say 5 to 8 years. With driver, I would probably look at it maybe every
6 weeks. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. There are people out there that have 20 drivers in a season.
Right. I would say every 2 to 3 years. I would look at it. You might not change.
Right.
But look at it.
Because of the technology.
The technology changes so fast. I mean, that along with the golf ball, people don't realize how, the golf balls, the technology changes so fast there too. But driver, I would say I would look at it, probably every 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
The fairways, hybrids, when you feel like you're losing something. Those are the comfort golf clubs. If you look at PGA Tour, Senior Tour, Ladies Tours, they don't change those as frequently. So, those are going to be comfort clubs. The wedges, I would look at the wedges probably most frequently because those are the ones you wear those out.
Right.
And
how often? Because I think Bob Vokey, who I had on my previous show, and I was actually just talking to him, which is funny. We're talking hockey. He texted me about hockey, being Canadian, what have you. He's a Montreal fan. Yeah, he's a Montreal fan. I'm a Toronto fan. We get on, though. We get on.
Yeah.
But he's a great guy. But I think he said it was like, I think it's 60 rounds. You should 60 to 100. I'm like, dude, that's a plug. He's like, it's really not.
No.
And when I look at my Vokey wedges that I paid for, Bob,
Right.
I paid full price for too, Bob. They're like rusting out, and they're probably They're probably actually 2019.
Right.
A little bit too old, and that's the club you probably use the most.
Titleist will say 75 rounds. I'm gonna say probably 100 to 125. And you
Really?
think about that, you might play once a week. Well, if that's 40 times a year, I mean, then you should probably change them every 3 years. Because what golf club do you use the most in a round of golf besides your putter? What golf club do you use to warm up with? I mean, most people start with a wedge. So I would tell people maybe change the wedges when you warm up. Don't always grab your 60 or grab your 56 or whatever. Maybe warm up with your 50.
Yeah.
You know, try to do some of that stuff. So, yeah,
You've never been a driving range with the most used club as the driver, just people just pounding balls with their driver. I mean, come on,
No, I
you're
see
at
it.
one every day.
I know, I see it. I see how much the driving range gets used versus the short course. So
Yeah.
now the short course has gone up in popularity the last few years, which has been fantastic. But yes, I mean,
Yeah.
I rarely hit driver. I'll hit 7 irons and 8
Yeah.
irons and wedges and stuff
Yeah.
like that. more.
So, what would your perfect golf bag comprise of club wise?
Mine personally, or
Or just
for the average
the
person?
average player.
I would have a driver.
Right.
I mean, that's a given.
Just one.
Just one.
Just making
maybe,
sure.
Maybe two. I mean, I have two. A driver, probably a middle to higher lofted fairway, probably at least one fairway, a hybrid, then probably cover the gaps from 6, 7 iron down to pitching wedge, and then have a couple of wedges in there and a putter.
Yeah.
So probably, realistically, 10, 11 clubs.
Okay.
Could you have more than that? Absolutely.
Yeah.
depending on-
What clubs do you have on top of that in your bag?
I carry a mini driver.
Oh Christ!
I
A
do.
mini driver. What
I
is
do.
it? Like a little driver where?
Yeah, no. It's a smaller headed driver.
Really? And why is that?
It is a confidence golf club.
Okay.
It is something that's gained in popularity the last couple of years, but it's something that it's a little shorter than my driver. The head's a little smaller. It's a little easier to hit from that standpoint.
Okay.
I just love it. I like a lot of my golf clubs in my bag, but it's probably my favorite golf club in my bag.
Right.
So I'd put that in, maybe a higher lofted fairway. Like people overlook 7 woods and 9 woods. I mean, those golf clubs are very, very easy to hit for a lot of people. And most people, when they hit them, they're like, wow, how easy it is to hit it high in the air. And they never even thought about it before.
Right.
So that would be another good one. Do you have to have a 60-degree wedge? Most people probably no.
Yeah.
But, I mean, in the right hands, it can be a very useful golf club.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Okay. And then, how important is club fitting? I don't think people understand, and I have never been fitted. Okay. But my daughter, because I'm old school. It's like, just give me a set of clubs, I'll figure it out. Which is probably not the smartest thing because the clubs have so much technology behind them. But I know for my daughter, about a year or two ago, we went club fitted, and fortunately not at Windmill, because we just got a more convenient time, and I regret it. And I'm not going to knock whatever. It's right. But how important is getting fitted for clubs? Because I think people have in their mind, like, I've always wanted these Titleists, whatever it is, and I'm going to do that. But then, like, I've had friends or family that say, hey, I want this X club, and they next thing you know, they're fitted in a Mizuno, and they love it. So I guess how imperative is fitting, and it's really is affordable too.
It is. Club fitting has been kind of the key phrase. We're trying to get into talking about optimization more so than club fitting, because I have people that come in every day and they're like, well, I'm not good enough to be club fitted. I'm not this, I'm not that. It's really about optimizing the golf club set for the player. So as opposed to just quote unquote club fitting, it's optimizing, giving them a driver they can hit. Maybe it's not a driver. Maybe it's, a mini driver, or maybe it's whatever. But it's optimizing the set to give them 10, 11, 12, 13, 8, 6, whatever that number is. Give them that set of golf clubs that they can go out and do their best. Because at the end of the day, that's my job as a club fitter, is to give them a better chance. So regardless of what your handicap level is, you can probably always get better. Versus, if I have a scratch handicap where, this guy's the one that should be club fitted. Yeah, he's the one that probably can go figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, Tiger can go figure it out with any set of golf clubs.
Right.
Now, he's not going to play
So you're saying I'm like Tiger.
I'm saying you're like Tiger.
Not.
I was going to use Scotty Scheffler, but Scotty's using Tiger's golf clubs anyway. So,
yeah.
They could figure it out with our set of golf clubs. They're probably not playing it their best with our set of golf clubs, but they can figure it out.
Right.
Versus everyone else, probably they just don't have the time and effort to constantly practice, constantly do all that stuff. So giving them a chance is, that's our job, is to try to optimize it.
Right. So you hit on something that's stuck in my mind now, kind of ever since this morning, is balls. So how imperative is the right golf ball? Because, you look at what's on sale, or you look at what you might find in the bush.
Sure. Yeah.
Especially if they're Pro V1s. Thank you to all those people that giving me Pro V1s.
Or in the water.
So I'll tell you a funny story. So a couple years ago, and you probably know this name, or you probably even know him personally, is Andy Brous. Played at Kent State, and we're playing in this this like Ryder Cup style, and I think we were doing alternate shot and stuff like that. So I brought a ball out, and I bought him from Lost golf balls or whatever. This was years ago, and he looked at it. He's like, "No, we'll use my ball." So obviously balls are pretty important.
Yeah, they are. And if you haven't gone to a ball plant, it's phenomenal.
Really?
It is absolutely incredible. It's a must-do. I mean, you can YouTube it, and I think Titleist and Callaway both have their ball plants on YouTube. You can actually, it'll kind of show you. If you've ever been there, you look at that and you get a greater appreciation for it. When you leave, you're like, oh my gosh. When you lose a golf ball, you're like, oh my gosh, it feels like I just lost $1 million, because it's
really
kind of cool. How important is it? It's vitally important. I mean, it's the only part of your equipment that doesn't change from shot to shot. So you think about, I changed my putter or my wedge or my driver or whatever. It's having that confidence and stability of that, what it's going to do. So, it used to be, I was the same way. I would be, I'll find this golf ball, play this.
Yeah.
Now it's, out of everything I could change, it's the one thing I don't change.
Yeah. What would you say are some of the most popular ball models? I mean, I know the Pro V1 is kind of the king per se, or maybe it's not.
It is. I mean, Pro V1, Pro V1X, actually Super Soft from Callaway.
Yep.
Callaway Chrome Soft is another one. Those are 4 of the top 5.
Okay.
So, I mean, those, every golf ball, I would say what's changed in the last 10 years, everyone makes a good golf ball now. Everyone
even
makes
Vice and Nitro.
Well, we're not going to go there.
Yeah, right. The bigger brands, whether it's Trixon, whether it's TaylorMade, the TP5s.
Yeah, if you went on that ball tour, especially, like I said, especially Titleist or Callaway, they're going to show you, they might not, but when I went on the ball tour at Titleist, they took me to a room where it was just stacks of golf balls to the ceiling. They had every single golf ball known to man in that room.
Come on, really?
And they could tell you anything you want to know about that golf ball. And they could tell you how good or bad that golf ball is based on, they broke them all down. And they could say, okay, you wouldn't want to do Vice because of this reason. You wouldn't want to do Kirtland because of this reason, or Snell because of this reason. And, they could show you, too. They had them all.
Yeah.
So that's what you're paying for. You're paying for the tour presence as
right,
well.
Right.
But you're paying for the R&D and all the stuff that you don't see. Yes, is the Vice golf ball a good golf ball, or the Snell golf ball a good golf ball? I'm not going to knock them. But there's reasons why they're the price that they are.
Right.
And they don't have the R&D that the Titleist does, the Callaway does, the Bridgestone does, the Strixon does.
Yeah.
There's
What do you think about? Aren't they going to different balls going forward in a couple years?
They are.
Yeah. How do you think that's going to affect the average game? We both have daughters that play golf. How's that going to affect them? Because now the ball's not going to go as far.
I think it's frustrating. Again, being in it, they've kind of let it go too far now. They've already let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. Any other sport, if you look at football, basketball, tennis, baseball, they're not changing the parameters.
Volleyball, soccer. We can go through it.
They're not changing
the
parameters. We've got athletes playing golf now. It's already too late. You want to change something, maybe probably change the driver. change the irons. Does the golf ball go straighter and farther now? Yeah, it does. But again, that's technology at work. Still got to get the golf ball in the hole.
Well, right.
End of the day.
Right.
I mean, I don't care how much easier they think they've made it. If you look at the handicap level hasn't changed. So the average player isn't getting better.
No.
And there's more time commitments. There's all kinds of different things. So if you want to do it for tour, I kind of get it. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's things you can do to tour courses to make them harder. If you look at Marion, I know it was 10 years ago now when Justin Rose won.
Right.
That was one of the shortest golf courses that they've had. And yet, I think it was, even par or +1 that won it. So you can still make it difficult.
Right.
Grow the rough up, shrink the fairways,
Right.
firm up the greens. I still think you don't necessarily have to do that. But
I worry with the whole golf ball conversion or whatever you want to call it. It's going to frustrate people because, I mean, think about it. If your daughter or my daughter or a woman, let's say, hits 215, 25, 225 driver and now is hitting 190, 195, you're just making the game a lot longer. And we're trying to speed up golf.
Right.
Like, okay, maybe make that for the pros,
right.
but not for the average amateur and person. Because they're not going to sell like Pro V1 USGA model and Pro V1 regular model, right?
No, I don't think so.
That's a great idea. Start a golf ball company.
You should.
Yeah. I'll pass.
Yeah. Hard pass.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's made golf so special for all the people who play it is we play by the same rules that Tiger Woods plays.
Play
by.
the same golf course too.
Same golf course.
Yep.
We can play from the same length if we choose to. Probably not a good idea, but you can do that. You can't tee it up, or you can't go up and face, Clayton Kershaw or face Emmanuel Clase or anything like that.
Yep.
Thank goodness, because
Yep.
I mean, so that's what separates golf. So the bifurcation of separating the golf balls. That's why I don't want to see that. But I mean, the popularity of golf has grown over the last 4 or 5 years during COVID. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
I know the whole live thing and all
Yeah,
that stuff
yeah.
has kind of put a sour taste in a lot of people's mouths. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think you can stop technology from
No.
growing. That being said, I think there's a lot of smart people in all these golf ball companies. They'll probably figure it out. I mean, the groove rule changed. We thought the groove rule was going to be, oh gosh, what are they going to do? Well, people are
Yeah.
still doing fine.
Yeah.
The belly putter went away. Well, now we got other putters that are not belly or anchored or whatever, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like they'll figure out the golf ball.
Yeah. So have you had any local pro athletes at your facility? And have you seen any of them hit balls? And can you tell us what you thought of their swing?
I've had a few. I won't divulge any names.
Who's the best? Who's got the best swing you've seen out there? It could be current or former, whether it's Indians, Guardians, whether it's Cavs, Browns.
The one that surprised me the most, I had Andy Lee when he was a punter for the Browns.
Okay.
And he came in and he had, mesh shorts on, T-shirt, ball cap. And I'm just talking to him. We're just kind of gaining rapport with him. And I'm watching him hit shots. And I'm like, holy crap. Like, you hit this ball. I mean, I didn't even realize who it was, honestly. And so I started asking these questions. And all of a sudden he goes, yeah, I'm a punter for the Browns. And I'm like, huh, how about that? and it never really. And the funny thing was Randy, who's the biggest Browns fan I know,
No clue who he was.
checked him in and didn't even know. So
That's
it
funny.
was kind of funny because again he didn't have Browns attire on. He just
Did he kick any of the balls off the range?
no.
I wonder how far he could kick a golf ball. It'd be kind of interesting.
I don't know, but man, he was hitting 7 irons at that point in time. He was hitting 7 irons about 205.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't that big of a guy.
Right.
I mean, but he was an all-pro punter and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I mean, he can.
Yeah, he probably has a strong lower body that he can
Yeah.
do. All right. So, what is the one thing with all your facilities? What is the one thing? And you have an indoor putting green in the back, which a lot of people in the basement, on the back in the basement. What is the one thing you would suggest? The one thing someone should do as a golfer? Is it look at changing clubs? Look at working on your short game, work on hip. Like, what is fitness, mental? What was the one thing if you had to work on one thing this year yourself? That's a loaded question too.
That is.
I know we're married with kids. That's loaded.
Yeah.
But in your golf game, what's the one thing you would work on if you were to work on one thing?
I would say the mental side of things is very important. Mental side. If I had to pick one, I would say it gets overlooked. I would say fitness second.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the golf clubs probably third.
Yeah, that's a real good sales pitch for Windmill Golf Center.
Yeah. I was going to say putter at first, but when she opened everything,
right.
Because people don't realize how important getting a putter fitting is.
Really? Yeah, that's kind of a thing that's not really talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the part of your set that you use the most.
Yeah.
It's the golf club you use
Yeah.
the most. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the putters have gone up in price lately, or the last few years. But it is vitally important. I mean, you're going to hit it. If you're a good putter, you're going to have 30 putts in a round, 29 and 30 putts in a round. So your driver is going to be 14.
Yeah.
So it's twice as many times as driver, but yet you'll look at driver all the time, and putter, it's like, I'll just putt with anything.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So putter. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, Trent, thanks for coming on the Clubhouse Confidential.
Absolutely.
Don't forget to check out Windmill Golf Center. We'll have some links in the bottom of our show notes and what have you. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Check out Windmill Golf Center. And I think I want to do something. We're going to talk about this off the air.
Sure.
I want to do some events, some fun events. I kind of want to do like a Bob Vokey classic on the short course.
Sure.
I think it'd be funny. DJ, music, all that stuff. Unfortunately, no alcohol because I don't think you have a liquor license.
No, we don't.
But we can have like Norca Soda or something like local. Because I know Mr.
Yeah,
Considine.
food truck.
Yeah, food truck. Make it fun.
Yeah.
Do some sales. We'll blow it up. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we did a Masters. We tried a Masters tournament this
Okay.
year, and then first time we've done it on the short course.
Yeah. How'd it go?
We had some bad weather, so we had
Yeah.
to kind of
Tweak.
it a little bit, but it was a success.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
That was great.
It brought people there that haven't come. But check out Windmill Golf Center, and don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We'll be back next week on the Clubhouse Confidential, a Northern Golf Experience.
Thanks for listening to the Clubhouse Confidential, a Northern Ohio golf experience. Hit the subscribe button and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Northern Ohio Golf Club. We will see you next time on the Clubhouse Confidential, a Northern Ohio golf experience. For